I want to show you a way that I was able to hack my creation ability. So as a coach or a healer or anybody in a place of wanting to make an impact in the world by being in a service-based business, we've come to this place where we really have to become creators, right? We have to build a brand with all the social media, the YouTube, the way people are looking at you, the awareness. Like, it's just not what it used to be, and we have to put ourselves out there. So as I went through this, I was thinking like, man, I'm trying to create all this content. Where do I find time? When do I wake up? Do I wake up at like 5 o'clock in the morning and just knock this out in the first 3-4 hours? And then I'm like, wait a minute, it's dark at 5 o'clock in the morning. I don't have good lighting. So all of these things really kind of messed with my head a little bit. But what I found as I grew through this process is I started to look at my creative capacity and how it ebbed and flowed. And so what I realized is it doesn't matter what anybody thinks. It doesn't even matter what I'm going to tell you right now. What really matters is what works for you. So I just want to share something that worked for me, and it's called biphasic sleep. So this is how it works. Back in the day, right, before there was any electricity, we had candlelight, okay? And so what would happen is we'd probably go to bed around, let's just call it 8 o'clock, right? Because there was just no light, maybe no reason to be up. There just wasn't the type of towns that we have today. So we would go to sleep, and we'd sleep about 5-ish hours, right? Maybe 4 to 6, anywhere in between there. And then we'd wake up in the middle of the night, and we would do things like have sex, create and write and journal, make food, go to the neighbor's house and hang out, and then come back. And then we would go back to sleep till the sun came up. And so we actually split our sleep up. And so when I first heard about this, I was really intrigued, because for me, what I was doing naturally was I was sleeping about 5.5 hours exactly. Like, I would just wake up. It was really weird. So then I said, okay, I'm gonna go to bed a little bit later, wake up after that 5.5 hours, and then I'm gonna take a 90-minute nap in the middle of the day. And that was my form of biphasic sleep. So that was my first try at it. And it worked really well, because for me, I was able to just go to bed and wake up at like 5.5 hours on the dot. So if I went to bed at like 12 o'clock at night, I'd get up at 5:30. I was ready to go. I would crush my day, and about 1 o'clock, I would take a 90-minute nap. This worked really well in the sense of it split up my sleep. I was able to get up early and do the things I needed to do, but it didn't feed the internal creation piece of me, right? Like, it was crazy. Like, I would wake up to do my gym routine at like, say, 5:30, and I would notice I'd feel kind of like this interesting, like, I can't explain it, maybe a connection to the universe, something that was just inspiring me. Like, I'd want to journal. Like, I would be on the stairs, crushing the stairs, and I would just get these downloads, like, just plowing through me, like bam, 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 bam. So then I'm like, wait a minute, there's got to be something more here. Like, this time of the morning, this kind of dimly lit, like, it just felt special. That's all I can say. It felt different. So what I did is I started looking into this biphasic sleep, and I said, okay, well, if this is the way we did it back then, let me try it. So now what I'm doing is I'm going to bed at like, say, 8 o'clock at night, right? 9 o'clock. Like, I know, early bird, I get it. I grew up in Vegas. I used to go to bed at 5 a.m. Now I'm waking up at those times. So now I'm waking up even earlier. And what that looks like for me is I'm going to bed like around 8 o'clock, and then I'm getting up at like, maybe like 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning, right? So I'm getting this like, 8 to 2, 6 hours of sleep, maybe 1:30 in there. And during this time, let's just call it 2 to 4. These numbers are not solid. They're just what I experienced. From 2 to 4, I'm having these amazing downloads. It's super dark. It's very, very peaceful. I live in Colombia right now. You can see the jungle behind me. There's a bamboo forest. And it doesn't get really cold in Medellin, so I can go outside, and it's just kind of this crisp air, right? It's just this beautiful, beautiful setting. And it's truly inspiring me. Like, it's mind-blowing how inspired I am during these times and the downloads I'm getting. So what I'm doing is I'm actually creating the written form, right, of my content. So if it's emails, I get to write them all out. But if it's something like this and I want to do some sort of script, I need to memorize things, I'm writing that out. And so I'm prepping. So it's like actual delivery, like I'm writing the emails, or I'm prepping for the videos. So this really, it changed the way I showed up. For one reason, I feel like I just have so much more time in the day. Like, I can't explain it. Like, I know that 2-hour block in the middle of the night doesn't seem like a lot, but all the things that are important to me from a spiritual perspective, like, this is when they're getting done. Like, I'm waking up and I'm doing this bowing routine that I do this Native American prayer, and I give tobacco to the earth, and I do these things, and then I go and I just sit down and I let the downloads flow through me. So I can't tell you that this is scientifically proven. I can tell you that people say you need to get this amount of sleep, 7 to 8 hours, but we're reading this biphasic sleep, and we just didn't operate that way, and other animals don't either. And for me to just sleep 7, 8 hours through the night, it just doesn't work. Like that 5.5 hour mark, I'm awake. So if this works for you, or actually try it out, obviously, but if it works for you, I want you to embrace the idea that it's not always the way we were taught. We have this conditioning and it says, oh, you have to do it this way, but maybe you don't have to do it that way. Do I think sleep is very important? Yes. Do I think we need to get 7 hours in total throughout a 24-hour period? Absolutely. But does it have to be all in the same block? I don't think so. So just to recap really quick, I started out going to bed around midnight, waking up around 5:30, knocking out all my gym stuff, doing all the things, and doing my, my spiritual work, my meditations, my affirmations, my practices. And then I would take a nap for 90 minutes between 1 o'clock and 2:30-ish, right? But now what I'm doing is I'm going to bed at say 8 to 9 o'clock, and I'm getting up at 1 to 2 o'clock in the morning, and I'm just taking that peaceful, calm, spiritual time, and I'm allowing all the downloads to hit me. And then from there, I'm just utilizing all of that content to create. So if you're building a business, I can promise you that you're building a brand. I can promise you part of that brand is content creation. And for me, this is, if you want to call it a hack, whatever you want, this really worked well. And honestly, I'm beyond energized. You can feel my energy come through this video right now. Like, this is how I feel every day, and it's really, really worked for me. So I just want you to think about that and just try different things, but understand that your content and how you connect with your client has to come from a place that's literally channeled through you, and it has to connect to them deeply. And this really helped me do that. So I hope that helps you out, and I'll see you on the next video.